Tom.
Hello everybody, Tom Fox here, and we're going to be doing another one of my perspectives and opinions on E3. This time we're touching on the Ubisoft conference here. So diving right into it, the first thing on the list was South Park, the Fractured But Whole. Very obvious title as to why it's very crude title that's made into a not crude title, still very crude. It looks like so from the looks of it, obviously from it, they were trying to kind of get away from the fantasy setting from like when they did the Game of Thrones episode, and even before that, the Lord of the Rings episode, and go toward more of the Coon and Friends thing. And from what they were talking about, it's like they were saying, you know, oh, now we finally know how to make video games now, so we're gonna try this one more time. And they're trying to change it with a different combat style. I'm assuming they're trying to change it with a different combat style based on the fact that Cartman's like, no, the combat style of our last game sucked. Honestly, I'd like to see how it turns out. I mean, like, Stick of Truth was good. Like, it was definitely a good nod to South Park fans. And its combat system, albeit simple, was still a lot of fun. It was very reminiscent of Paper Mario. So, you know, keep an eye on that, because that looks like it's going to probably, maybe not an RPG, maybe it'll be a little bit more action-oriented. We'll have to see. Let's see. For Honor, kind of came out of left field. Like, nobody really thought anything of that, truly. Or I guess, like, nobody had any sense of it at all, really. But it seems pretty neat. 3 different cultures. You got, like, your Viking, Nordish sort of race. Your Anglo-Saxon sort of English, castles and knights and all that sort of thing. And you got the Japanese samurai going into battle there. And gameplay looks very interesting. You got the 4v4 with but with a lot of AI warriors. And if you notice, there was in that gameplay trailer, there's a bit of a mode shift between when you're just fighting the AI and when you're fighting another player. So yeah, it looked very, it looked very interesting. I just kind of want to see where it goes from there. Like, we didn't really get a feel for how it controls in the demo. And I'm guessing it may be based on sort of like a rock, paper, scissors sort of thing, where it's like, okay, so he's going to do this, so I'm going to need to try and outmaneuver him by doing this, and then come back at him with this, but if he counters that, then I've got this backup strategy, that kind of thing. Why did he turn his sword around? Why did he flip his sword around and use it like an axe, except he didn't use it as an axe, he still used the blade? Was that common? That's a practice I'm very unfamiliar with as far as combat goes. And they kind of like bragged about a more, I wouldn't say realistic, but like a more like dynamic combat experience. And I guess if turning your sword around does that, then okay. Talked about a couple of expansion packs. The crew expansion pack called Wild Run. I guess it gives you more vehicles, and I guess it opens up championships to you as well. If you're a fan of the crew, I'm assuming that's good news. The Trials Evolution pack. Awesome level max. Didn't see much of it. All we saw was the cat riding the fire-breathing unicorn. Do you play as the cat riding the fire-breathing unicorn in that? Because that seems amazing. Although, I'd probably have to practice a bit more, because as you probably see with my Derp Crew videos, I'm not the best at Trials Evolution. It's like my anti-Mario Kart. They showed off a bit more of the Division. The Dark Zones look pretty intense. Like, it's, sort of like a free missionary. You just kind of go in there to get loot. But there's like PvP situations around every corner. Like that group of 3 there. They go in, they're just like, oh, those 2 people are there. Let's hold up. Okay, they want to help us. Let's go into them. And then at the end, they're just like, okay, pick them off. Let's get their loot. And then that last guy just leaves the group altogether and picks them off. And it's just like, it just seems so intense. It seems like it seems incredibly stressful, actually, where it's like, you really have to trust the people you're going in with. No pickup groups there. You just got to go in with friends. Friends and only friends. Or you can go in alone and just be like a shadow and pick people off one by one. Kind of hard. Probably hard to do that, though. Probably no assassinations. After that, speculation. Oh, that also goes against what I said in the Microsoft press conference as well. Because I didn't think it was going to be cooperative anymore. I didn't think it was going to be massively online anymore because of they just focused on it saying it was an action RPG, and they didn't really touch too much on the Microsoft conference. But apparently it's going to be MMO based. Looks very interesting. I wasn't interested in it before, but now I kind of am. Anno 2205. I know there was another Anno game before that. Not really sure where it went. I think that was, apparently it's a city builder. It looks like you could also colonize the moon. I went from the announcement, I thought it was saying like go to other planets and other galaxies and colonize that. Maybe that's what Civilization was. I have no idea, but I guess you're trying to just like, I guess just city simulator really, but futuristic. So not my cup of tea, but I'm sure there's people out there who see that and are like, wow, you know, you're not only you've got to manage not only the city you built on one planet or many cities across the planet, but you also have to manage these cities on the moon. And it's like you got to go back and forth between them. I'm sure there's like a bit of like a delay there between them, and it's going to make things a little bit complicated as you get further and further into the game. So, you know, look forward to that if you're looking for a city building challenge. Let's see, Just Dance 2016. Honestly, this has become like a sports game, like one of those annual releases where it's like hardly anything changes aside from like, you know, rosters. In this case, rosters being music and a few additional features. The additional features being the smartphone uses a controller. I mean, if it's fun, then go for it. I mean, it's good that they kind of have that bringing in that service. Maybe not so much good, but it's like they bring in that service where you got all the music from the old, you know, Just Dance games, and kind of makes you wonder why you would bother, you know? Why wouldn't you just want to... Oh, I guess they didn't necessarily specify it was old games. I guess it was old and new I'm sorry. If it was old songs, but I guess they could bring in old and new songs, and like the new songs would be enough to justify the subscription. They said subscription as well. I'm not sure if that implies a fee or if it's just something you have to sign up for. Subscription implies fee, though, so... All right. The Rainbow Six Siege trailer... I gave us some pretty in-depth storyline there about like the unknown terrorist threat, and it's like, you know, could come from anywhere, and they're managed to infiltrate anything. Plus the Terror Hunt mode looks like it's heavily based on communication and being able to do these things with your allies. I kind of wonder if there's a difficulty curve there, because like I don't know if the AI is either going to be dumb or if they're going to be smart to the point where it makes it too easy. And will the computer AI be smart or dumb to the point where it makes solo gameplay either very simple or very unplayable? Have to keep looking into that. Trackmania Turbo. I've played a couple of Trackmania games on like Steam and PC in general. Those games are so much fun. In the previous videos, I was talking about, oh, you can't really get me into a realistic racing game. And this is pretty far from realistic, but, you know, it's fun. It's fun. I like the arcade racing games a lot better. So, like, Forza, meh. Need for Speed, meh. Trackmania, where you're doing loop-de-loops in, like, Formula 1 cars? Thank you. Yes, please. Also, I like the thing that they mentioned there about the randomly generating maps. Because that makes the game seem like it's almost like infinite. And I'm guessing you'd be able to save those maps as well and more or less share them, so that way other people can race on them and get like, you know, be able to beat times, you can compare times. Kind of wondering about like a multiplayer aspect there, like co-op. I wonder if there's going to be any sort of like interaction there where you can like crash into other cars or whatnot. Too early to tell, at least in this game. I don't honestly remember if that was in the original Trackmanias. I said I played it, I've only actually seen gameplay of it. I didn't actually play it myself. But yeah, we'll have to wait on that. Also, that kind of leaves room for a possible track editor as well. So, you know, I don't even know if that was in the original ones or Trackmania Squared. Moving on, though, we had Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Looks like it takes place during Industrial Revolution era. I haven't seen anything before this, so looks pretty good. One thing I noticed is that the main character, you know, it's not really like an Altair or a Connor. Probably a little bit more likable. And usually the ones that had the likable characters were the more fun ones. So like Edward Kenway or Ezio, at least in Assassin's Creed 2. Those ones were generally the more enjoyable Assassin's Creed. So a likable character, you know, looking up. Aside from that, they show the grappling hook there. It'll probably make parkouring a lot easier, especially if you get thrown off of there. I also like the aspects of being able to hop a ride on various modes of transportation, like the horse-drawn carriages or trains. Something that really hasn't been implemented in Assassin's Creed games in the past, unless you really count the boats, but, you know, the boats and like the main game themselves were very separate. So, I'm kind of looking forward to Syndicate, mainly because of the trend that usually when they have a likable character in their Assassin's Creed game, it generally is better. However, with the recent, Unity being a bugged out mess, we'll have to see. And finally, that reveal trailer for Ghost Recon Wildlands, that seems like it's incredibly open. Gonna have to look out a bit more than that. Kind of hard to tell if it's co-op though. Like, it doesn't really give you too much of a standard there. Third person, and there's also the opportunity to have, like, the infiltration from above, or the stealth based at night, or just straightforward, shooting combat, like the cover based combat, which, has been done to death, so it's not really that exciting anymore. But the options are there. So the options are there, and we'll make of it what we will. At this point, I'm kind of getting into this a little bit late in the game. So I watched this, after everybody was already I watched this conference while everybody was watching the Sony press conference, and I just kept seeing thing after thing there. So we're gonna be diving into the Sony conference next, and I gotta say I'm a bit hyped for it. So Ubisoft did pretty well. They had some pretty solid titles, a few ones that maybe fell a little bit, short. Mainly, let's see. Mainly on here, the Crew expansion I didn't really care much about. Auto didn't really catch my attention. Just Dance is a yearly release. Siege looks good. Trackmania looks good. The Syndicate looks good. Well, the Syndicate, from my speculation, looks good because likable character. Ghost Recon, we'll have to see more of. For Honor, we'll have to see more of. South Park, tried and true, the writing will be good no matter what, but the gameplay is something that'll have to, be waited on. So anyway, we're going to cover the Sony E3 press conference next, so until then, see you all later!